Folks, we've been threatening this one for a while. So here it is, piping hot and ready to go. You heard the original French brother. You learned of the long-lost Italian brother. And now, here he is, in all of his glory, the one, the only, the American De Papier, Lone Star De Papier, and his story diner.
Howdy here, folks. It's your rootin' tootin' partner, Lone Star De Papier, and his story diner, where we cook up the finest ingredients of plot, characters, setting, and all them darn thingamahoozits, and then somehow put them onto potatoes, deep fried chicken, barbecue steaks, and what have you. I gotta say, I don't really know how it works, but somehow it does, and if that's good enough for my Lord Jesus, that's good enough for me. David here was recommended to me by my strange and unusual French brother Gaston, while I was given a bit of a tipsy to avoid that here Donald feller like he was a plague-ridden June bug on a snake's behind. So shoot my cat and call my fill. I just up and hired that here David.
Yep, here I am, happy to serve in another minimum wage job where people yell at me all day and I smile on right through it like a champ. Let's see who comes in today on my very first shift.
You best be cautious about the hash house lingo around these parts. It can be mighty befuddling to the uninitiated.
Oh, I think I've got it under control. Hello, good sir. What can I get you?
I'd like a romantic tragedy burger with extra catastrophe cheese and a side of allegory onion rings with extra sadness salt.
You got it, sir. Ordering! We need a Romeo and Juliet on a bun with a leather belt and a bag of weeping Jesus money.
Got it! I say, son, you're learning quicker than a dog with a PhD being tempted with bacon. Now, can you handle the rest of the here, I'm wondering?
Let's find out. Oh, hello, ma'am. What can we get you here at Lone Star De Papier's Story Diner?
Yes, I'd like a historical drama ham sandwich with light witty comedy sauce, a side of melodrama mashed potatoes with extra power fantasy pepper, and a piece of sci-fi cream pie.
You got it, ma'am. Ordering! We need a King Louis VIII with Oscar Wilde briefs, a bottle of soap with air conditioner, and a slice of Roddenberry.
Got it!
Boy, I'm a natural with this kind of stuff. Wouldn't you say, Lone Star?
I would say, son. I say indeed. But the day is still young, so there's plenty of time for messing up things around here.
Of course. But I won't disappoint you. Oh, hello, sir. What can we get you here at Lone Star De Papier's Story Diner?
Hey, David, it's me, Donald. What's up?
Donald, what are you doing here? If Lone Star sees you...
Whoa there, son. Is that you, Donald? You best be moving on now. According to my dear brothers, you're not welcome around these here parts. That's just about hiring me. I can still be here as a customer, can't I?
I mean, I think so. I wouldn't want to deny the profits gained from a customer, right, Lone Star?
Oh, well, I suppose I'll allow it this one time.
Thank you. I'll have a cheese pizza.
Cheese pizza?
Yeah, with extra cheese, please.
This is an all-American diner, Donald. Full with hash house lingo. We don't serve pizza here.
Pizza's totally American. Where else would it come from? Italy? That's ridiculous. They don't serve pizza in the Colosseum.
I say, son, you're picking about as much sense as a bowling ball in a miniskirt.
I want pizza!
You can't have pizza.
Fine, I want a story pizza. A young adult sci-fi comedy pizza.
We don't serve pizza here, Donald. What are you doing? Surely Luigi Alfredo De Papier's Story Restaurant has, legitimate pizza.
Yeah, but I got banned there, and for the life of me, I don't know why.
It's because you're ruining everything you touch, Donald. My brothers were right in not trusting you. You best tuck up your tail and get on running out of here.
Now hold on. I think I just might make this work. Ordering! I need an Asimov orange pie with a sweater and a coat of Scott Card and clown shoes.
Got it! Whoa, look at that! A young adult sci-fi comedy pizza with extra cheese. So good. Thank you, David. Adios.
Adios. You best not be using the language of those dirty wall climbers around here.
Dirty wall climbers?
I do apologize for that interruption, son. The boy's about as annoying as a Mandarin orange from New Jersey.
Hey, we managed to make his order, didn't we? In fact, with this additional hash house lingo, I bet you can make anything here.
Now there, don't you be testing this here place with any of your city slicker nonsense.
Oh, hi there, customer. We've expanded our menu just today. So what can we get for you?
Ooh, expanded menu, awesome. I'll have the steampunk kung pao chicken and murder mystery noodles.
What in tarnation?
You got it, miss. Ordering! I need a brass wallet china and a box of Agatha Wees.
Got it! Boy, howdy, what buffoonery is this? I'll have a high fantasy falafel with literary fiction baklava.
Ordering! We need a Tolkien turban with a side of high school drama students.
Got it! You listen here, son. You ain't never gonna work here again if you keep up with this here witchcraft.
Ordering! We need a confetti-covered sombrero with a Philip K. Dick on a bun and a pair of Paolini pants.
Got it! That's quite enough. I've had too much of your rampant tomfoolery. Get out of this town here before I make you.
Boy, Donald was right about you folks. You're all so bizarre. Fine, who needs this stressful minimum wage job anyway? You don't even have benefits.
No one needs no benefits no more in this country. We got too much freedom for any commie crap like dental plans or what have you. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I say.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. Adios!
Get on out of here. I don't want to be seeing your face around these parts no more in here. No more, dagnabbit. No, no, no more.
Whoa, which Looney Tunes character were you trying to be again?
Get on out of here, Sonny.
Will he come back? Probably, unfortunately.
I was gonna say.
Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of The Ritwit, the show with hosts of huge accolades. In that I've successfully completed most of the scenarios in Roller Coaster Tycoon Corkscrew Follies. That's an achievement. Oh yeah, I published a few books too.
I mean, I remember back in the days when we were like, oh, we're gonna do all of these
Matt
and we're
and
gonna do
Matt's
it together.
Forced Frontiers.
Well, we managed a few, but we never got even close to finishing them.
I'm pretty close. I'm on Giggle Downs.
You are, but you left me behind long ago.
Would you like to join me?
You always have your own ideas and you don't let me do much, so...
Would you like to join me? I'm offering right now. Who's to say no, huh? Anyways.
Well, I mean, that requires spending a whole lot of time at your apartment doing stuff, because normally I'm not there.
Well, to be fair, I did want to be roommates with you, and you're like... And I was just like, screw it, I can afford it myself. I'm living on my own. That's great. You should try it.
I'll take living at the moment rent-free, although as soon as my mom hears this, she'll probably say, nope, you're starting to pay me rent. Go for it. Love you, Mom. Thanks for listening.
Please don't make me pay rent.
He said it, not me. All right.
Anyway.
We're on the third episode of our set, talking about various character archetypes. So you can tell from the title, but
yes.
We'll get there after.
What we at the Ritwit have writ. What have you writ, David?
Not including my notes as word count, because that's unfair, even to me, believe it or not.
Right.
As of the time of this recording, I'm over 21,000 words into this nano adventure.
Holy crap. It's like November 6th when we're recording. How the hell did you do it?
I'm averaging over 4,000 words a day.
Oh my god, you fiend.
And there's painting at the house going on at the same
You
time. So it's like
absolute
I'm literally
madman.
carving out time. Hey, I'm doing it this year. Last year I skipped it. I'm trying to make up for that.
That's true.
Heck, given this episode is set to publish on the 24th,
Oh, yeah.
I'd really hope I'm well past done on the basic 50,000 goal by then.
That's true.
That said, I'm pushing harder and longer this year than ever before.
Harder and longer, huh?
In past years, I've doubled up on the goal twice, once with 2 stories in the same month, getting to 50,000 apiece.
Yes.
Once as a challenge goal for a single story.
Right.
This year, I'm going beyond even that Rubicon for one express reason.
Oh.
The NaNoWriMo website that I joined all the way back in 2007, God, I'm old, when it started spewing words on a page, tracks lifetime word count for projects under its auspices.
Yes.
With a little bit more oomph and less petering out once I hit a plateau of words, I could make my lifetime count 900,000 this year.
Nice. It's from 2007. That's pretty good. And yeah, you're right. That does feel old. I have a coworker of mine at the coffee shop at Shelby Dane for legal reasons or comedic reasons.
Amazing. You decide which, listener.
Okay, so and I was talking with him and is like and I was like, how old are you? Like, I'm 16. I'm like, wait, that means you were born 2005. I'm like, 2005. I remember that so well.
My grandfather was already gone. I was going into high school.
I'm working with some...
I was through my first year of high school as of 2005.
I was with some kid. It's been there.
Yeah, making the feel old.
Because he said he was born in June 2005. That means like that was around I think that was,
so it was between freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah, so I was like, I think Madagascar came out that month. I don't know why I remember that.
Well, back in 2007, I think I joined NaNoWriMo's website at like October, just before November started.
When you were
shortly after TMNT came out.
Yes, yes. But yeah, you joined this thing when this guy was still in diapers. Like that's just
that's
weird.
Yep. But 900,000 words.
Yeah.
While I can't guarantee at this phase of life that I will dedicate next Nano to a double-up goal. Heck, I might not even do NaNoWriMo next year. I don't know. It's a year away. That
true.
puts me very close to an admirable, well, at least in terms of quantity, admirable, million words lifetime on Nano projects.
I do not know if I've written 1 million words total on things. Maybe I have. I don't know. If you add up everything.
Given that my current average per day, and again, none of these notes are counting, and assuming I keep that pace steady, I should even be done with the double-up goal by the time this episode goes live.
Yes.
Leaving a measly, drop the 3, carry the 1, okay, maybe not so measly, 31,000 or so to go for the over 900,000 mark.
Nice. I like how you do drop the ones. It's Common Core now. Come on.
I can't not talk about the story after all the talking I've done. So,
what the hell have you been writing?
A quick elevator pitch: a tale in 3 acts with 3 generations of superheroes.
Ooh.
The important villain has a redonkulous plan to bring hell on Earth, and it remains to be seen if the heroes can stop those machinations in time, or even at all.
I like redonkulous plans, and I also like hell and Earth. So all of them together sounds
Given the way the rest of this recording session is going, I was thinking you were going to say, I like redonkulous butts, and again, not...
That is how that song should have gone. Yeah.
All right.
The hell with romance.
All right. Hopefully, I'll do the story in my head justice, because I've been stewing on the big scheme to feature since April. So
big scheme.
Yeah, the one where the villain's trying to bring hell on Earth.
The redonkulous one.
The redonkulous plan.
Cool.
Yes. I've had that in my head since April, because I'm like, okay, I want to prepare for Nano.
Yes.
I want to make sure that I'm not leaving it to fly completely by the seat of my pants.
Right.
So I had that, and that was the first piece that I had figured out.
Cool. The redonkulous plan.
The redonkulous plan. All the way back in I think it was April, but it might have been May. Somewhere in there, months before I even start writing, before I start plotting any of it.
I mean, it's good to pre-plan, especially with something where you're like, okay, 50,000 words a month. I got nothing.
Well, I mean, I did say myself, I call it spewing words on a page. And
that's what you do.
There's a whole lot of that. Let me tell you.
You're
does that become a word? No.
You are
autocorrect. Try it again.
Verbose, wouldn't you say?
And speaking of which, we did that vocab vitamin last week.
This week we're talking about the word verbose. No.
All right, McDonald's.
Yes.
I'm assuming you have plenty to at least kind of compare to the 21,000
shoes
words.
on the other foot now, isn't it? Huh? Yeah, I don't have a lot this time. I really should be starting this sequel to Teslanauts. I do have quite a few plans for it, but I'm still only a paragraph or so into it. Currently, I'm waiting for the first concepts for my cover artist.
I was about to say, which is more important, preparing Teslanauts the first for publication, or continuing on even though you don't know how it's going to be received?
Well, yeah, that's
so
the thing.
There's an inbred reason not to make progress on the sequel.
But that's true. But so I'm waiting.
But you could have been editing yourself.
The thing is, I'm waiting for my parents to look over it, and they're like, and they're getting through it slowly. But then my dad has so many notes per page. I'm like, Dad, this is becoming your book. It's I'm not changing the plot or the character.
The thing you have to remember about editors, and this goes for everybody, listeners. End of the day, if they're giving you notes,
yep,
you choose which to accept or decline.
That's true.
My mom sings in a barbershop quartet.
Yes.
With 3 other ladies who love singing that style. And when they get coaching, they record their sessions for the express purpose of going over it after the fact. Sometimes the fixes are really good. Sometimes it really helps. Sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't match with what they already have planned. So they just forego it.
I guess that's true.
And that's okay.
And to be fair, once they're done with it and they have it ready to go, I'm actually gonna have a professional editor, like I mentioned last month. So that'll be fine. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for come on guys, chop guys. I want the contact the marketing agency so we can get this thing ramped up and advertising already. Come on.
They're your parents. Just remember that.
Yeah.
They're doing it for free.
They are doing it for free. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I do it for free too, but I haven't had a chance to catch up on all of it. I got it quite a ways the last time we spent
mom
time
is
together.
Further than you, I think.
That's not surprising.
So, all right. So now, okay, I have no segue. I failed.
But your parents are sources of
Wisdom.
great wisdom at
Yes.
some certain
could
points
say
in your
they're
life. You could
sort
say
of
they're like sages.
sages.
And speaking of which,
That was better than I was going to do. It was like, I was in the desert once, and I saw
a
sa-
sagebrush. I, God.
And speaking of
I think this is actually why we talk about segues so much, because I feel like I try and do them way more naturally than you, and so I
Yeah, but-
can't help but comment on yours.
well, hey,
That's what it
the
is.
last two I did, I think were pretty damn natural.
Yeah, you did one that was pretty damn natural. And speaking of which, sagebrush.
Speaking of pretty damn natural,
Have you looked at this chassis lately? Anyway. All right.
yeah, they're real. Anyways, that's what I was talking about. You didn't get that?
No, because I was went on with the next thing because of my brain. But anyway, we were talking about the
Yes,
sage.
So now we're on to two of the more mentor-esque characters, because you said like to group these up. So two of the more mentor-esque characters in these classic literary archetypes, starting with the sage. This is a wise figure who gives out good advice to those willing to listen. Has experience and insight to back up their advice, but might be overtly cautious and not much of a fighter. We've talked about mentors before plenty of times, so let's start out by asking what makes a sage a specific type of mentor rather than like the upcoming magician or some other type of fighter.
Another word that I'm tempted to use for this archetype is hermit, honestly.
Hermit, yes, like the crab.
No, as
No,
in
I
like
know.
someone who lives in the mountains
No,
by themselves.
no,
in a
I know what
retreat,
you mean, yes.
Because that's the image I get.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who has miraculously seen so much despite not getting involved, or apparently ever moving, always has the right words to say at the perfect time, analyzes people like that
Yes.
before applying the perfect pearl of wisdom.
Exactly.
Their experience holds them in deserved esteem, but they no longer use any physical gifts they have to fight, possibly because those gifts have abandoned them almost completely.
That's true. They might be old. They probably are old.
They also aren't guaranteed to have magic or even a single proficiency that's relevant to the conflict at hand, but they generally descend like the eye of the storm, maybe the calm before the storm, I'm not sure where I'm going with this,
Yeah, I don't know.
just in time.
Maybe the eye of the storm, but there's like a lot of storm behind them, with a lot of storm
And
ahead
before
of them.
them,
Yeah, but not right where they are. So
Well, I mean, calm before the storm probably works, but I'm just thinking like, when the characters are going through their problem and then they run into this character, this sage-type character,
yes.
and it's a moment of peace and a moment of figuring out themselves before they're renewed in the conflict. I guess Eye of the Storm works in that regard.
I'd say so.
Anyway,
Anyways,
how about you?
This is the person who's seen the world despite staying put.
Hermit!
And
Called
always
it!
gives out good advice to those who need it. The advice can work in any genre of story. They don't need spells or other fancy stuff to aid. They also don't even need to be in the story for long. They can have one scene that comes in at just the right time, but the protagonist might be all that they need.
Yep, one scene. I personally have gone on record many times about hating the mentor death,
Yes.
the sage death.
I mean,
Bothers me greatly if that's their one scene. Oh, I'll tell you just what you need to know. And then they're cruelly killed off and the character's like, no!
okay, so normally when the mentor dies, it's not after one scene. They're usually in the rest of the book or the story, so
Depends.
but
Depends if the protagonists bring, like, I'm thinking, I believe, of Narnia,
yes.
and the travelers come across this hermit, but they're being chased. Horse and his boy, maybe. So the party, which has now a boy, a girl, and their respective horses, come to this hermitage, and the people chasing them end up coming. The hermit doesn't die because he tells them how to escape, and the pursuers are not interested in killing the hermit. But that's easily a place where they're literally on his doorstep. They could very well kill him.
Well, so at least he doesn't die, though.
He doesn't die in that
He's
case.
just not in the story, and that's the thing. Like,
But I mean, that's, we
That's
talked about character death not that long ago. A couple last
true.
set, I
That's
think
true,
it
but
was.
like, what are ways that writers can use a sage to galvanize a story that doesn't involve their death? Then
I mean, I think it's more fascinating to let the sage continue to do their thing, which precludes the major mentor death moment.
right.
Obviously, that's effective as a motivation tactic, but that doesn't have to be the only way. A
Yes.
sage might just be a great motivator, and with their mastery of reading people, they can say just the perfect words when they're encountered, as repeatedly as that happens, with all the passel of different characters the story includes.
Yes.
They can provide crucial perspective that helps shape a protag's decision to move forward or challenge their firmly held beliefs about the situation. They don't have to die to do any of that.
That's true. They don't. They don't. And, like, to be fair, there's a lot of good mentors or sages like that don't do. For example, as a show that I was watching earlier, the great Mr. Feeney.
Go Feeney! Go Feeney! For more on that reference.
Just a couple episodes earlier. Anyways, but as I mentioned earlier, they can often be the one or only a few scenes, right, when the character needs them, so they don't necessarily have to die, just not be in the rest of the story anymore. Now, depending on how you write the story, you can also fall into the trap of having this character be the magical Negro.
Oh my god.
A trope named by film director Spike Lee.
Oh, okay. At least it was Spike Lee. That makes it more palatable. That's the title.
Yes. So, it's this is a character that happens quite a bit. It's a black or some other minority character whose whole purpose seems to be to give out good advice to the white main character.
Of course.
Like, in a half-hearted way to show people that black people can be good too, you know. But in the context of the story, they're good because they're helping the white people. It's an easy trap to fall into.
Oh my gosh, blaxploitation.
Which, to be fair, might have fallen into it a little bit in Tesla Knots. So I'm working on fixing that up to making it so that it's not the same trappings as the trope, not all the same trappings. Like, such as having his whole life not be simply to help the main white character, and he has his own life and his own fight as well. Anyways, so, but yeah, that's the trap you gotta avoid, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, and obviously...
I mean, don't have to. I mean, they can work, but...
It can work even if it falls into the trope, but I hope that you're not using it as token, like, representation, and it's there for a story reason, in which case it doesn't matter what they look like or how different they look from the main character.
That's true.
Because of what they provide to the main character.
It's true. I don't know. My favorite example of the magical Negro, remember Bedazzled?
Oh, God.
Remember when he was in jail and there was that black person that was very, very heavily implied to be God? Like,
yeah. You know, it was actually really funny. You were saying something about Bedazzled, and for some reason my mind went to The Green Mile, which also has a large black man in prison who is, like, practically God.
Well, I was thinking of the movie Bruce Almighty, which has I don't know how large he is, but a black man who's
playing God, literally.
Playing God. Can't get much more of a magical Negro than...
I will so be sad when Morgan Freeman inevitably leaves to the next world. Oh my gosh.
Mel Brooks, though, is getting close. He's like 96. Like,
I think you said that last time, and we looked it up as like only 93 or whatever.
I don't know. He's old.
Old and dirt. But anyway.
Sharpest attack still, though.
One that's about to rust shut.
No. He's going to live forever.
Uh-huh, sure. Just as soon as we get Spaceballs 2. Anyway.
And History of the World Part 2.
Well, History of the World Part 2 is actually in production. Spaceballs Part 2? Nobody.
The search for more money, yeah. But...
All right.
I don't know, like, he was he's like, as well as being fun. I mean, just a little bit of a tangent here because we're going through this pretty quickly here. Like, Mel Brooks is just such a badass, though, as well as being funny. Like, in World War II, he was a minesweeper in World War II, I think. So he, one of the things that they were playing, they were in these camps, right, up from them and the Nazis, or across from each other. And the Nazis used their loudspeakers to blare out, like, Nazi propaganda. So Mel Brooks wired it to play Jewish folklore music right back at them. Because he was trolling Nazis, right? When the Nazis were still, like, a huge threat. I mean, not they're not a huge threat.
Trolling the Nazis before he even made the movie History of the World Part 1.
And producers.
And the producers.
Well, it's like, you know, because, like, a lot of, like, if you ever try to do something to show, like, how bad Nazis are, a lot of times neo-Nazis, like, co-opted as, like, oh, yeah, this is cool. Like, they don't see the irony in it. But no neo-Nazi has ever had Springtime for Hitler as their own. They've never claimed it. Because humor and ridicule is the way to get rid of it, to really deter it.
Fair enough.
Mel Brooks understood that. Anyway, speaking of none of that.
Back to sages.
I mean,
he
is kind of
Mel Brooks is a sage guy at this
He
point.
is. He is a sage to us all.
Well, to those who really love his humor, considering one of our closest friends
Point of me?
does not like
No, he's not.
his humor at all.
I'm just plain yogurt.
I hate yogurt, even with strawberries. All right, anyway.
Anyway, so is there a certain difference to keep in mind about choosing a female to occupy this role over a male? Subtropes, does that depend on your protagonist, though?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
Subnote.
a lot of it,
Yeah.
well, more like a sub-question, but regardless, like, the differences between women and men, generally, not expressly
Women
every
are from
single
Venus,
one,
men are from Mars.
which means we're all aliens. No, but I mean, the thing about it is that women tend to be gentler, less direct in giving advice or imposing their will on people they don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place for that, certainly, with a character like this, and women can, on demand, be that type of force in a person's life.
That's true.
But for a sage, that image doesn't really align very frequently, in my opinion.
It can, but it's...
No, what I'm referring to is the whole, like, forcefully, I just met you, and you're doing this wrong, do it better, you idiot. They're not really going to do that.
You know, it's kind of funny, though, like, this is sort of related, but my... friend of the show, Laura Owsley, who's been on one episode and been a few, and the 100th episode as well.
All the World's a Stage, I believe?
Yeah, exactly. All the Ritz a stage.
All the Ritz a stage.
Ding! But she's also been on Paleobites, and on an episode that I don't think has come out yet.
Okay.
But it's been edited so far. She mentions, like, how, because, she's lesbian, and
I know that.
she's talking about, like, lesbian relationships, and she says, how there's a lot of people kind of assume lesbian relationships are very hypersexual. I'm like, yeah, that's probably just horny dudes. Imagining that, where it's like
they want to imagine it that way, so they do.
It's like I mentioned, like, it's like they imagine like girls just having pillow fights in their underwear when they hang out, and she's like, oh yeah, I do that every Tuesday. It's like, yeah, it's just a regular occurrence for me. But anyways, she said that actually what happens with lesbian couples, and I wonder if this is kind of a thing that goes with the sage sort of thing, is like rather than just acting like hypersexual and like going through a constant honeymoon phase, they act like they've already been married for 50 years. Just like, darling, look at this, you must have this. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, oh, this is just like that time at the studio or something.
Well, I mean, a lot of longer in the tooth couples, they get so familiar with the intricacies of their significant other that they can kind of skip that step.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do fights anymore because they don't even really say much. The nonverbal tics, the thought processes are all figured out, and it's the tired old arguments. It's the same problems they already have, and the old married couple joke.
Yep.
Now I don't know if lesbian relationships get there quicker or anything because both of them may be more, shall we say, forceful compared to the typical image that men have of straight women.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if, a sage character who is less direct about these things, unless they're going to stick around and so they have more chance to clarify, so they have a chance to find another way to word it that suddenly clicks in the main character's head.
So what you're saying is that a female sage has to be a lesbian.
No. No. But I just think that guys, we cut through the BS.
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to conserve that precious page space, if you're not trying to write NaNoWriMo,
so not you.
So not me. But, if you're trying to conserve that, then it makes more sense that they say it once and they say it in such a way that is unequivocally understood by everybody that needs to hear it, and it's over with.
That's true.
That said, only bodies that experience their respective puberty and stuff of that nature can truly provide perspective to others who have experienced the same.
Well, I mean, if it's about that, then yeah.
If your lead character is female, a female sage makes more sense because of the propriety of their relationship.
Well,
if you had a female sage with a male character, some shippers might go crazy.
Here's a way that it was worked for me personally, and not about writing, this about in real life. Friend of the show and the most frequent guest host, Christina Eilert, has been so helpful to me whenever I have issues with girls. She's like, what in the world is this woman thinking? She's like, all right, let me explain it to you. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Lucky. Compare that to me, who had a very good friend of mine in the string quartet, who I once asked about women, and I was like, don't you understand women? You are one. She's like, nope. I said, well, damn it, I'm hosed.
It's true. But yeah, no, so that's one example. That is a very particular example. So, but where Christina is a sage for me sometimes. So
the same is true in the opposite case, by the way.
That's true.
The male character, more likely a male sage, is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I would hate for the shippers to go crazy on this character who is important to the main character for giving the right advice and not giving them an excuse to turn it into a relationship. Now, that won't really stop shippers, especially for homosexual stuffs, but
nothing stops shippers.
But the propriety of the relationship that a sage and this main character should have, it's probably easier if you go along the same gender lines as best you can. Does not mean you have to.
Right. But here's a good example I have, though, of of a female sage. And this might at first seem like it's crossing over the next archetype coming up, the magician. But it's a good example of the female sage is the fairy godmother from Cinderella.
Fair.
Now, yes, she is literally a magician. But her role in the story isn't just to give, Cinderella the dress and the shoes and the way to go to the ball, but to give Cinderella the confidence she needs to go out herself, and face her fears of leaving the house of those she's under servitude and, be her own woman,
Fair.
And also, of course, to give her the dress and the shoes and the way to the ball. But that's not the main point, okay? So
The larger thing that's more important is getting her out the door.
yes. So
I am interested, by the way, if our listeners will prove me wrong in their stories by having the opposite gendered sage
Right.
to a main character. So go ahead, share those with us if you ever have that opportunity.
there was that recent Cinderella movie that Amazon did where the fairy godmother was played by a gay man. I forget who it was. But
Gosh, I don't remember. All I'm remembering is all this talk of Cinderella is that in freshman year of high school, I took a drama class and we did fractured fairy tales.
yes.
And the group decided to do a gender-swapped version of Cinderella.
Cinderfella.
Cinderbrother, actually, because the lead character was played by a African-American.
Cinder
So
brother.
Princess Charming, well, Cinderbrother, but anyway, Princess Charming instead of Prince Charming. It was, yeah, there are some tragic memories.
I
I'm
feel like
repressing
Princess Charming is kind of an insult. When you describe a woman, it's like that's like
here. Oh,
she's
she's charming.
that's like kind of saying they have a great personality.
Be that as it may.
Anyways.
I have some other terrible repressed memories from that experience.
Anyway,
too, so I'm not getting into
no
it.
time. Moving on. So, can this guy/gal be a villain or antagonistic figure? If so, how?
I mean, presumably any mentors that may exist on the villain side are close to this archetype, so yes? But without framing it that way, it seems unlikely.
Yeah.
I could definitely see them as a more neutral, chaotic influence that
Yes.
stays impartial
That could be
rather than outright antagonistic.
Yeah.
Saying that a former sage that became jaded or lost too much to maintain impartiality could easily descend the path to being a villain, right?
Yeah, that's one way to do it, and then bring that up here. But yeah.
One too many students torn from life too soon, or an awful tragedy that changed them forever. There are scenarios where this archetype could fall to evil, but I'm not sure I would continue categorizing them as this if such happened.
Well, it depends on what their point of this is. As well as being a mentor for the villain, another way the character could be, like you said, is if they're so jaded and cynical after all they've been through that while they might at first give good advice and try to lend a helping hand to the hero, they end up being a negative antagonistic force against the justification of their negative worldview. A good example of this is the character 1 from the movie 9, the oldest of the sack dolls that survives in the post-apocalyptic world. Yeah, that movie's weird.
Yeah.
But it's like the only PG-13 action-oriented CGI animated movie, so it has a special place in my heart.
Aha, I see. Well, and, certainly...
Also, 1's voiced by Christopher Plummer. May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. What an actor.
So...
Well, and, it's one of those you've seen so much that sometimes you can't help but be challenged in why do we still believe in the good of people, that kind of a thing. And the sage characters are not averse to they cannot avoid a similar direction if that's where the author is leading them.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. Their advice could be bad advice. They could still be giving it.
They might be giving it with the best of intentions, but it doesn't necessarily
It's
work
like
out.
if their advice is like, man, people suck, you gotta go out for yourself.
But does that make
and then the hero's
sage
like
inherently bad?
I don't know, but the thing, they give out their advice, but then the hero's like, you're wrong, and then the sage gets all aggressive. I don't know. That could be
I'm thinking more the post altercation situation where the hero hears this advice, thinks this really doesn't work, and the hero is proven right. Sorry, using hero for main character here.
Yes.
Main character is proven right, which proves the sage wrong.
right.
But does that make the sage a bad person for trying to give them an honest...
So there you go. That could be a sage. That could, I don't know, but that also doesn't really make him an antagonist either. So I don't know.
Not inherently.
Yeah, this one might be the most difficult to do, but there are ways to do it. So
Well, aside from outright hero, I think this one's the most difficult that we've encountered thus far, but we still have so many more archetypes to get to.
one more to go for
And
this set.
speaking of which, I
That's
think we're
it.
done with
Yep,
this week.
that's it for this week. A huge thank you to all our patrons so far.
Yes, your support means the world to us. Wherever you're listening, please give us a like, a rating. If you're doing it on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for
Yes,
more content,
I
both
think-
this
yes.
and Paleobites.
Yes.
And we appreciate your support. If
Yep.
you'd like to get in touch with us,
Yes, you can follow me. Contact us at mattd@methodoncareer.com for your general questions to either co-host.
we share Matt D, so if you could specify David or Donald, that'd be great.
Also, if you could rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or CastBox or wherever, that'd be great.
Wherever you're listening to your podcast, we do appreciate
That'd be
it.
great. So sometimes we're like, man, Libsyn is so good. Because like there's sometimes I look at podcast places and like, is the Ritwit on here? Oh my gosh, the Ritwit's on here. How'd that happen?
Yeah, I got to figure out what to do for distribution when it comes to Nerds Are
I
Us.
will
have
show you how it works. It's
Beautiful, but
super
that's off
easy.
screen. Anyway.
So you can follow me personally at Matthew Don Creator on Facebook, at Matthew Don 64 on Twitter, and Matthew Don 64 on Instagram. Why 64? Because the number of jelly beans that are in every jar when you have to guess the number. It's a little known fact.
Exactly 64.
They do it every time.
You mean it's not over 9,000?
No, but
Darn.
I do like that episode of Phineas and Ferb where they're in like this maze and then they have to get through this door. It's like, how many jelly beans are in the jar? And like Phineas and Baljeet, who's like the Indian nerd, like try to like figure it out,
Count it by math or
calculate it, and then Buford's like, oh, for crying out loud, there, 0. And then Baljeet's like, okay, technically that is correct, but you did not show your math. And he's like, I will in about 20 minutes.
Wow, those beans ran right through him.
We just went, oh.
I think that'd be the most colorful turds he ever had.
Anyway, so
We have twitted ourselves out about
boy,
way more than sages this
boy,
week.
we have. I'm Matt Donald.
I'm Matt David. Keep on writing the good writ.
and riding the good ride.
And we'll see you next week with the last in this particular set about character archetypes.
Yes,
Until
yes.
then, stay safe, keep writing, and we'll see you soon.
And get a vaccine. Bye.
Bye. Ordering! We need a Romeo and Juliet with a leather belt and a bag of weeping Jesus money, confetti-covered sombrero with a Philip K. Dick on a bun, and a King Louis VIII with Oscar Wilde briefs, a bottle of soap with hair conditioner, an Asimov orange pie with a sweater and a coat of Scott card, a Tolkien turban with a side of brass wallet china, and a box of Agatha Wheeze.
Got it!